and appreciate that you're here with the parents and the students, the educators, and our business partners, as well as Governor Hutchison, Anthony Owen, and Mr. Christie, who will share information with you about career and technical. We are very proud in Rogers Public Schools that we have a career and technical education department that is committed to working with local business and industry to recognize what our workforce needs are, not only currently but in the future, so that we can plan programs for the students, for your children, and that help prepare them for successful careers and bright futures. I am going to introduce Ms. Karen Steen, Principal of Heritage High School. She'll share a message and we'll introduce Governor Hutchison. Again, thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Karen Steen. I'm the principal here at Heritage High School, and I want to welcome you to our beautiful campus. And on behalf of our Rogers Public School District, the entire district, and Heritage High School, we thank you for being here. I hope you had a great meal before you came in, and now we'll receive the information that is prepared for you today. February is National Career and Technical Education Month. The event will highlight the positive attributes and the contributions of career and technical education programs which are made to prepare students for a successful transition to college and/or career following their high school. The Rogers Public Schools career and technical education programs align with current and regional workforce demands, projected labor market trends, technical training, and computer science skills designed to prepare students for current and future careers. Our Arkansas Governor, Governor Hutchison, is a friend to the career and technical education. He has initiated a statewide computer science focus in our schools. He is well aware that computer science, coding, and technical skills are integral parts of our CTE programs. He is actively advocating that students participate in CTE courses, and those that do will gain valuable computer science-related skills essential to the 21st century workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you your governor, Asa Hutchison.
Everybody can see me here, so I was going to stand down here. Is this okay for everybody? And how many students do we have here? Raise your hand if you're a student. All right. How many teachers do we have here? Wow. We got school board here, superintendent here, so we can make all the decisions that are important in life right here today. I'm governor, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be at Rogers Heritage, and I want to tell you a little bit about life. I want to talk to you about your future in jobs. I want to talk to you about some of the things that we're doing in Arkansas and how that might impact you. And just to let you know how timely this topic is, today about 1:30 I had a call from Ivanka Trump. She called, and guess what she wanted to talk to me about? She wanted to talk to me about career education and job skill training. And so this is one of her assignments in the Trump White House, is to work on this issue. And she was expressing to me that we're having a National Governors Association meeting this weekend up in Washington, D.C., and I'll be there. And we were getting prepared because we will be talking about workforce training, career education, and everything that we're talking about in this room today. So it is very timely, and Rogers Heritage and Rogers School District is really a leader and providing the students here with incredible opportunities to not just get an education, but make sure that that leads to a job in your future. Now, I said I was going to talk to you about life for just a minute. First of all, I grew up right here in Benton County. I grew up over in Gravett, 3 miles out in the country, half a mile down a dirt road on a 280-acre farm that I loved. I was a young boy. My dad was a poultry and cattle farmer, and later on he worked in a poultry plant inspecting chickens. They had high school educations, both my mom and my dad. And they didn't know much about college, but they knew it was important and they encouraged me to go beyond high school. And that inspiration about their work ethic, about growing up on a farm, about the importance of education, made a difference in my life. And because I've had an education, I've had opportunities that my mom and dad never had. But I come from this area, and so over in Gravett, and then I wound up, don't get mad at me, but I went to high school in Springdale. And, oh, good. And then, whenever I got out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's the point of this story. Some people can plan their life. You might know exactly what you want to do, but you're probably unusual if you can know exactly what you want to do in life. And so what you've got to do is to expose yourself to as many different opportunities and understand what you like and what you don't like and what you think your career would be, and take it one step at a time. And so whenever I got out of high school, I did go to college and I majored in accounting. And I didn't know whether I wanted to be an accountant or not, but it was the first letter of the alphabet, A. That was my major, and that's how I selected my major. Well, after 4 years of accounting, actually didn't mind it at all. I got my degree, but then I started in debate, and debate took me to a law school to read a case that was relevant to the debate topic. And man, I fell in love with the law. And so I said, I'm going to go to law school. So I went to law school. Nobody in my family had ever done that. And I go to law school, and I'm thinking, man, I've exceeded all my expectations in life. I just want to go and practice law. And I started practicing law at the Square of Bentonville. We had kids that we were raising out on 15 acres, an old rabbit farm, in a double-wide mobile home. And don't insult me because it was a double-wide. I was proud of that. And we're just having the time of our life, but I got involved in politics on the ground floor, was a city coordinator for Ronald Reagan. One thing led to another, and he appointed me as United States Attorney in Fort Smith. I ultimately got elected to Congress of the United States. And in Congress, I was happy as a lark when President Bush asked me to leave Congress and go help set up, join his administration. We had the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center 1 month after I joined the administration. And he said, the world has changed. I now need you to go into Homeland Security. And I said, okay. And so I'm in charge of border and transportation security. And the first day on the job, I get a call. I was undersecretary, and they called me, my operations chief, and said, Mr. Secretary, we have a plane that's been hijacked from Cuba. It is headed toward the shores of the United States in the Miami area. We don't know its intent, whether it wants to do us harm, whether it's terrorist related or not. What action should we take? And I'm looking around the room here a little bit. Let me think here a second. I grew up on a farm. I went to law school. Nothing has trained me to answer this question. But it was in my lap. And you learn how to build a team. You learn how to handle challenges and problems. And I did resolve it. The protocols was you divert the plane out of the airspace going toward Miami into a rural area so it can't do any damage, and we resolved the situation. Now, after Homeland Security, I came back and got elected governor of Arkansas. So that's a long, twisted path. And my point is that life is not always planned. Sometimes it unfolds. And be ready for what's ahead. Be prepared, get a good education, learn what interests you, and be successful in whatever you try to do. And do your best in it. Those are good ingredients in life, and who knows where it leads. Now, let me come back to the topic here, though. What's important is that we give you every opportunity in life to explore different avenues of success. And so, we've got over this culture that everybody has to go to college. Now, I think college is important. if you want to get a profession and a degree, and I encourage people to go to college. Most importantly, I encourage you to make sure after high school you get a certificate or degree or further training. That is the most important thing. And so in high school, you might decide that you want to go into the construction trades. Well, then you can go, and by the way, you can make an incredible living, great opportunities there. The economy is booming. We need construction workers and leaders. And so you can go into that trade field, but get your certificates in carpentry, in home building, in whatever field area that you want to go into. You might want to work in a manufacturing facility. You want to get a certificate in welding. That takes something beyond high school. It takes further training. And so pursue those avenues, even if you don't want to go to college, you want to get that technical training. And of course, you can make a very good living through technical training, through skills that you have. There's such demand today in all those areas. Now we have here in the Rogers School District partnerships with Northwest Technical Institute and with Northwest Community College. And the reason that is important is that if you go into a career center, I want a couple things to happen. One, I want that career center to be partnered with a two-year college so that you can get your technical training, and sometimes you'll also get college credit for it. Because guess what? You might go into a technical field and say, I like this, but I want to go on and get a two-year associate degree. And after you get that, you might say, well, man, I want to go on and get a four-year degree. Path leads to additional steps in life. And so we want to have that partnership with two-year schools. And then the most important partnership is with industry. Because we want you to enter a field that's going to lead to a job. And so the only way you can do that is to have industry to help guide you, to know what job is on the end, to help mentor, to give you exposure to their plant, their operations, so that you can learn and see what that life is like and whether that's a good fit for you or not. The partnership with industry is very, very important. And those are the ingredients that I'm looking for as governor in our career technical situations. Down in another place in Paris, Arkansas, we opened up a career center there that had those combinations. You've got a model program here that meets those criteria as well. And then I wanted to mention something else, and that is what we did in Arkansas to assure you that you can go on through 2 years of college and you don't have to worry about going in debt. Is that not a good idea? And the question is appropriately with the lady with the camera, how's that? Well, we had some grant programs in Arkansas that were not that effective. We rolled them all into a single grant program called Arkansas Future Grants. Some people call it a promise grant. And that says that if you enter into a high-need field of study, and that means every area will determine what that need of study is, or what the high needs are in industry. And so in Northwest Arkansas, it might be healthcare. You go into a nursing program. It might be computer science in the technical field. Or it might be welding because we need welders. If you go into any of those high-need fields of study, then we will guarantee that you will have 2 years of college, all tuition and mandatory fees paid for by the state and through this grant. There's a couple conditions. One is that the two-year college needs to have a mentor program. And that is so that it increases the chance of your success. We want people to progress up that ladder, to get that certificate, whether it's a welding certificate or a 2-year associate's degree. We want you to get that. And then the other requirement is that you will need to stay in Arkansas for 2 years and work. We're not training our talent to go to Las Vegas. We're not training our talent to go to New York City. We're training our talent to be right here. And so we've got a lot of counselors here and teachers. I'm marketing that program. I'm marketing that. I want that to be a success. I want it to be utilized. We just put it online last year. It'll continue to get more attention, but it's a great opportunity because if you're a first-generation college student, that your parents never went to college, your first worry is, how can I do it? How can I afford it? And so once you have that confidence that tuition fees are going to be paid, then sure, you might have to work on the side. I work on the side, but you can go through at least 2 years of college without having any student loans, without having any debt. You might have to work a little bit, but you can do that. And whatever certificate or higher education need that you need for your career, you can get. So be assured of that. Now, I have a particular area, and Anthony and Owen, where's Anthony? Anthony's going to come up, and don't come up here yet. I'm not going to give you the microphone quite yet. Anthony's going to come up here and speak in a minute, and he is my Director of Computer Science, which is my passion here in Arkansas. And we started this initiative because I came from Homeland Security. And he'll tell about the whole thing. I'll just tell a story. But whenever I was in Homeland Security, we were worried about terrorist attack. And so our men and women in the military went overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan to take the battle to the enemy. They did an incredible job. But you know, we were worried about terrorists that would sneak in across the border, that would come in on an airplane ticket and say that their visas for being a student, like they did on 9/11, but in fact they were here to do us harm. And so we had to rely upon computer scientists. We had to rely upon those people that understand the language of the computer, that could tell the computer what to do, so we could take all of this information about people coming to our country, and we could analyze that data and try and compare it with past data and travel records, where they're from, and all of these other information bits that we have, analyze that, and then put our hands on somebody who pose a risk to the United States of America.
But sir, why aren't they taking care of the vets that are suffering after they came back from fighting in the war?
That's a different question. I won't come back to that. The question is about the vets. But you can see how technology and computer science relates to so many different fields of life. That's what was my interest in that. And so yes, absolutely, with our vets that come back, we have to have a top quality healthcare system. We need to make sure that we have a mental health system that benefits them, and that we give them priorities in securing employment. That is one of the reasons that it's not for every vet, but if you retire from the military and you serve our country, then we have said you will not have to pay Arkansas income taxes on your retirement benefits. Just one way to say thank you, but also it's a great economic boost to our country as well. Let me see, before Anthony comes up, I didn't give you any warning on this, but is there any question that you want to ask me, or anything that you want to tell me? I caught you off guard a little bit. Did I describe the program here, and you're meeting those criteria I have? Good. Yes, sir.
I have something I want to tell you. I work at Northwest Arkansas Community College. I work with several of the teachers that are here, and also the students, and I'm also an administrator from one of our regional workforce improvement grants. And since that began being funded in August of 2016, we've issued more than 2,000 Ocean 10 cards to local high school students. We've helped them find some jobs and things like that. And I think it's really cool that I'm actually able here to tell you to your face that, you know, some of these initiatives that you've really been pushing are really affecting the lives of the people in the state. And I mean, I can tell you also, even some of the teachers here, I've been able to use some of those funds to even assist them with purchasing consumable goods. They give them a chance to actually teach the students more things. And as a result of that, we're seeing a lot of our programs grow, and the students here, some of them are even already getting raises at their jobs just for completing something as simple as a worship card. So those aren't free. And were it not for grants like that, we would not have been able to provide that to that many people. And so I just wanted to get a chance to tell you in person what an impact that is having.
So we hope that the governor will restate the question.
You're on the forefront of making it happen, so thank you. But you know, that's the kind of helpful information that I like to hear when I get out. Sometimes you hear challenges and things we need to fix. And there's always things we need to fix, but that's encouraging, and thank you. Yes.
My name is Linda Soriano. I'm a BSN nurse. I just want to thank you that in the workplace, as a healthcare provider, our lives basically are always in line with confused patients, your environment, and people, high men, whatever, feel the right to attack because they don't get their narcotics, because of whatever. And I'm very grateful that during the administration, it became a felony. That we protected. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Learn something every day. Y'all are a great audience. I want to introduce Anthony Owen, our Director of Computer Science. He's going to speak next in more detail about our computer science initiative. And this guy's a national star. He has traveled all over the country talking about what Arkansas is doing. And while I had a very simple idea for computer science, computer code in every high school, he took that and put it in our grade schools, our middle schools, building up that talent pool for our coding effort. And so he'll talk about that, but he's really recognized as a national leader in this and doing an incredible job for Arkansas. He's one of the reasons that Arkansas is considered by most national publications, from Wired.com to Google to Microsoft, as leading the nation in computer science education. Please join me in welcoming Anthony Owen.
Thank you, Governor. And I will say it is I only play a small part in bringing your vision to the state of Arkansas. I'm proud to do so. Let's give another hand for Governor Hutchison. Without his vision for computer science, we would not be on this vision. So I'm going to kind of take a little different approach here than I usually do when I speak to educators, because we have a very eclectic group in the room. I want you to consider the picture that's behind me for 30 seconds. Now, turn to the partner and share your considerations. What you thought about it when you read that. Whatever comes to your mind. What came to your mind when you started seeing it, when you first walked in, when I asked you to actually reflect upon it? Does anybody recognize this? Do we have any real computer geeks in the room? We have one. Okay. Well, let's see if we are on the same page here. Objectively speaking, Kraft Odetta was a failure as a company. Right as the business started to pick up, states began to provide their own traffic accounting services to local governments for free. If you couldn't tell by the title, This was a company that was started up to measure traffic data and give that information back to road construction decisions, etc. As quickly as it started, their business model evaporated. But while traffic data was technically a business failure, the understanding of microprocessors that the creators absorbed was crucial to those individuals' future success. The emulator that was written as part of the traffic data program gave these individuals a huge start for the program that they would write next, or the series of programs that they would write next. I'll show you a business card from this company, see if you can kind of pick up on who it was that created this failure of a company. I'll point him out if you miss it. Anybody not know who Bill Gates is? Okay, I think pretty much everybody does. This is an excerpt from a school report card. And if you can't read it, I'll read it for you. His work has been far from satisfactory. This could have been about me as a child, honestly. Several times he has been in trouble, especially that part, because he will not listen. But he will insist in doing his work his own way. I still get accused of that sometimes. I believe he has ideas about becoming a scientist. On his present showing, this is quite ridiculous. It would be a sheer waste of time both on his part and those who have to teach him. This was a report card of Sir John B. Gurdon, who was a fellow of the Royal Society and was knighted in 1995. In 2004, the Wellcome Trust Cancer Research UK Institute for Cell Biology and Cancer was renamed the Gordon Institute after him, etc., all the way to the point in 2012 he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for the discovery that mature cells can be reprogrammed to become pluripotent. Now, if you want to look at what that means, feel free. Some of y'all probably know this one. This one's been old, kind of go back to for most educators. He will never amount to much. This was said about a student by a Munich schoolmaster, and this was that student's response about 60 years later. So, going back to the initial slide and the sign, I want you to think about how our society and how we as educators sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm going to walk back and forth just to drive the camera people crazy. I want you to think about how we pretty much make it a polarizing issue. You're either a success or you're a failure. That's what I thought about when I saw that first sign. And sometimes I think that's what we do to our students. That's what we do to ourselves. We give ourselves a negative feedback loop that just perpetuates that failure. When what I think that we should be teaching our students, and I think is very apt in the career and technical education world, is that failure is a part of success. It has to be. You never succeed at anything and it be finalized. If it is, you went into contentment. I chose the colors on this slide for a particular reason. Obviously, everybody's going to attempt something in their life. You're going to either have what's classified as a success or a failure. Then you're going to make a decision if it's a failure. You're going to either decide to try again or you're going to give up. Termination, red. You gave up. If you try again, you're going to observe. You can then say, okay, I'm content with it, being a failure. Notice it's yellow. Or you're going to decide to improve, and you go back and you start the cycle again. Or if you have what is considered a success, you're going to go through the observation process, etc. Rebecca here, and I hope she doesn't mind me calling her out, she's already decided. The governor said earlier that we need construction workers, and hopefully Rebecca doesn't mind me sharing this. Do you? Rebecca or Rachel? Did I mess up your name? Rebecca, okay. I'm horrible with names. Sometimes I fail at remembering people's names, but I'm glad I got it right. So Rebecca is a 6th grader, and she already knows that she wants to go into the construction industry. So Rebecca, I'm going to ask you, do things always work out exactly as you planned on to when you're out building a house, helping your father build a house? No. Quite often I fail. Sometimes I forget the old adage of measure twice and cut once. Sometimes I cut about 4 times and then have to go back and measure it. So, but you can either choose to give up, right? Or you can choose to observe and then improve and then attempt again. And I think that's what we're missing sometimes in education, and that's really the reason that I love the CTE area of education, is that it's all about building those job skills. It's about building those abilities that our students need, which is to go out and face the fact that they're not going to succeed all the time, but their failures can turn into success. So as the governor said, and I hate that sound, I meant to mute that, but I forgot to. As the governor said, I am the State Director of Computer Science Education, and have been privileged to run the initiative for him over the past few years. I'm going to share a little bit about that, but because I know you're already tired of my voice, I'm actually going to share a video to start.
Coding is what makes all the gadgets and the apps that we use work.
Webster defines it as a set of instructions for a computer, but I see it more as a universal language to communicate a task to a computer to process that.
Coding is using logic to create solutions, and these solutions can be for everyday life or just for fun in general.
Coding is the language, I believe, of the 21st century workforce.
Just like we teach Spanish, French, it's how you speak to computers.
One of the things that maybe people aren't aware of is that software is impacting everything in our lives.
Because nowadays it's all about technology. You cannot get away without it.
At some point, that's going to break. And so you'll always know that there's going to be problems to solve, and there's always going to be something new coming down the pipe.
People hear that I'm a computer programmer, their eyes either light up or they feel intimidated. And at the end of the day, it's really just like mathematics, just a few additions and multiplications and subtraction.
The biggest opportunity for students today is in computer science, programming, anything to do with IT, computers.
We think that knowing the code is going to be elementary, it's going to be a baseline for a lot of the future jobs that are going to be created.
Knowing how to code is really one small sliver of my job. The actual typing of the keyboard does not really impact my job as much as the ability to problem solve.
And if you're a problem solver and want to, make things work or make them work better, that's what programming is ultimately about.
It lets people learn how to take really big, complex problems and break them down into smaller, more manageable problems.
So for you to be successful in the future, I think it's really, really important that people become literate and understand how it's constructed and how to utilize it to better improve how business delivers the services.
What's cool about coding jobs is people from every background can come together and share their ideas, and they're important.
There's a lot of camaraderie, so you're usually working with a couple people to bring something to life. And then the great thing about that is that when you do bring it to life, it actually gets put into production.
My job allows me to work from home whenever I want. I can work from any city I want, really, as long as I've told people where I'm going to be.
We've got people who enjoy coming to the office every day, and that's what they choose. We have some people who I'm not even sure where they are. They've gone walkabout or nomadic. And every time I hear about where this person's at, they're in a different city, and they're able to do their job from Matova literally from anywhere.
No one ever told me that would be a possibility when I was younger, and now I get to travel and work wherever I want.
I think that there's something about the work environment in a software company that's different than maybe the rest of the corporate world.
We have to compete with the Facebooks and the Googles and the Amazons for talent. Part of the culture of programming is the fun.
Our work culture here is a lot of fun, which is something that people may not expect in a large company. We have an open environment that encourages collaboration amongst our teams. We have outdoor picnic tables, we play ping pong whenever there's high stress moments, which kind of brings the level down.
If you're in a coding job, that is one of the first places that I know of that you can dress as casually as you like.
We have a real casual environment. You can see no one's in a suit and tie here, so just kind of come as you are. Every now and then we'll have some Nerf wars in the office to blow off some steam.
It's the cookouts and the burgers, you know, and the hot dogs and the things that we try to do on a weekly, if not daily basis that makes it fun to come to work. It's not even like work. You're just coming out to hang out with your friends.
Coding is really for everybody, and there's not a demographic that it is specific to.
It's for anyone who wants to have ideas to make things better.
Innovation comes in different ways. And I think different perspectives, different point of views are only going to help with innovation.
When you give students the opportunity to learn in this hands-on IT high-tech environment, it appeals to all students.
When I graduated from the University of Arkansas, there were very few women in my field. And now I think that has definitely changed. And I think it's because technology spans so much more than people realize.
I would encourage girls to learn how to code because nowadays it's very important to break a lot of barriers that there are out in this world.
Do not be afraid of the industry itself. It's a very exciting, fast-moving industry and with a lot of potential.
I would study in the computer science IT field because 1, opportunities, 2, opportunities, and 3, opportunities.
We are actually creating the future. We are working with technologies and talking to clients who are building things that don't even exist today. The general public doesn't even know are even coming.
I think any time a young person can take a coding class, they definitely should. Just knowing what it takes to make something happen in this world of technology is essential.
If you have the ability, if you offer to take any of the computer science courses, it just gives you that one extra, leg up on so many people that aren't offered those classes in other states.
I mean, I would tell them just to explore the options that are out there. Do research on companies that you've heard of before.
If they have a creative mind, if they're a techie, if they like technology, there's no reason not to just try it.
There's over 360,000 jobs available today, and that's expected to be over 1 million in the next couple of years and 2 million by 2020. So if you have these skills, there is a job opportunity for you. With all the growth in the state of Arkansas, there's a lot of job opportunities right here in your home state.
What we're doing is creating intrigue and excitement around coding, and those are the people that we want to hire. We want people that enjoy the work that they do.
Once you learn how to code, it is not simply for that specific language. Once you start learning, it really is something that you just want to go ahead and learn more and learn as many as you can. Kind of like Pokemon, once you get one, you got to catch them all.
So that video was mainly talking about coding, and I lost my mind, but we'll problem solve here. But I want to talk to you more generically about computer science. And I want to talk about it to you because I know every student here is probably, there may be 5 students here that say, I might be interested in this being a programmer thing. Okay? There might be 5 or 6 in this room. Hopefully there's a lot more than that. But we're not naive. We know not everybody's going to be a programmer. I'm not a programmer. Okay? Yes, I had a computer science minor in college, but my major was mathematics, and as an undergrad, I had 2 minors, one in computer science and one in education. Finished my master's in educational leadership, and then, much like Governor Hutchison, I don't know that I've ever shared this with him, but our backstories are very similar, just from a different part of the state. I also went to law school. I'm an Arkansas attorney also. But the reason I have this position is not because I'm a coder, it's because I had some experience in computer science and some knowledge in computer science. As your students, or you as students, as you move forward in life, things are going to become more integrated with technology. I saw a gentleman over here with a Hutchison shirt on. My family has grown for Tyson for, my mother bought her farm when she was 17 and she just turned 57, so do the math, right? And we've grown for Tyson for 40 years as a family. I'm a first-generation college student. I tell you, I go home now, and where I was growing up, it was, you got to go out and manually crank up the curtains whenever it starts raining, make sure as soon as it stops raining, you go back out there and you make sure you crank them down or the chickens will die. You go turn on foggers whenever it gets hot. She didn't have to do any of that anymore.
She has a system, a computer called Ag Alert, that moderates and monitors most of the situations within that chicken house, and she has to understand how to program that computer in a certain fashion, how to set it up so certain conditionals, when certain conditionals are met, that it kicks on the fathers or it kicks on the brooders. So see, I do know a little bit about chicken houses too. But what I'm saying to you is, especially as this generation of students graduates high school, they start looking for jobs. There are going to be very few jobs out there that some sort of backing in computer science. At least one course, 2 courses, the problem-solving skills that it teaches will benefit them. Governor Hutchison mentioned that we're known as leading the nation, the state that's leading the nation in computer science, and that's not just something we say, as he mentioned. This is proof in our Facebook donation. How many of your schools received one of the TechStart VR kits? How many people? Should be almost every school up here at this point. There was one made available for every school, so if you don't know where it is for every high school, if you don't know where it is, go out and find it and use it, experience it. That's almost a $3 million donation from Facebook and TechStart just because they believe in our computer science initiative. We're the only state that they've done that for in the nation. I love this one simply because my wife is from Texas and I'm also a diehard Razorback fan, so anytime we can pick on Texas, right? And then Wired Magazine, we have a digital alliance with Microsoft, and the list just goes on and on. Code.org, a little company does an hour of code. You've probably heard of them. How many students in here have participated in hour of code at some point? So most of them. Okay, Code.org had, actually when we started this initiative, they had 7 policy suggestions, but based on the work that we did, they expanded on to 9, and we were the first and still the only state that has met all 9 of the policy suggestions. Bank of New York Mellon, this is a prime example of even if you don't want to be a programmer, computer science can do you some good. Bank of New York Mellon, the oldest bank in the United States, will no longer hire investment bankers unless they have a background in computer science. Let me say that again. Bank of New York Mellon will no longer hire an investment banker unless they have a background in computer science. Why is that? Well, computer science teaches problem solving. It teaches analytical thought processes. It teaches logic. Basically, it teaches what we try to teach students in 4th year math classes quite often, right? Those higher level problem solving skills in something that they can actually find useful as they move forward. Not saying that 4th year math is not useful. I was a mathematician. I graduated with a math degree. But I can count on this hand how many times I've calculated the area under a parabolic curve using Riemann sums in my real life. Okay? But we all had to learn it in 4th year pre-calculus, calculus. Reasons for our success, and I'm not going to go through this, but comprehensive legislation. Arkansas was the first state to adopt that every high school in the state of Arkansas had to make available to its students at least one computer science class. So parents and students, your school has to make available a computer science class to you, at least one. If they're not, call my office and we can find you a class because they're supposed to. And I know all the schools up here are doing it because I've already checked into it. Central point of contact, it's not me, it's the position. We were the first state to create a central point of contact for computer science. Since then, 13 other states have followed our lead. Graduation credit. Now, this is going to be a little bit dependent on your school because your school can adopt board policy that restricts graduation to a certain extent. But at a state level, we give schools flexibility in saying, if they'll allow it, that a student who takes a computer science class can use that computer science class in place of their 4th year math or their 3rd year science requirement. And it automatically flexes over to meet career focus, which is part of the reason we're all here today, if you don't need it for that. So even if you don't need it for math or science, you can use it for a career focus. And any of our pathways meet a completer status. Teacher capacity, we're going to continue putting money behind that. Teachers in the room, there are many stipend offers and options out there available for y'all in funding. Governor Hutchison, the first 2 years of this initiative, he put $5 million of discretionary grant funding out of his office behind the initiative. Since then, the legislature has appropriated $2.5 million per year. That is the most that has been appropriated by any state in the U.S. Not any state of the same size, any state. I just got word that the governor of New York is recommending $6 million a year for their computer science initiative. Now, let's think about that. New York, some of their suburbs of New York City has more population than our entire state, and they're allocating $6 million, and we've allocated $10 million over 4 years, or 2.5 per year. A little snapshot of our strategic plan and our vision. And our vision doesn't really, I mean, it matters, but it's just words on the screen. So I'm going to share a story, and I'm going to share one more video, and then I'll open up to questions and kind of, if we have some time. This is a story that we received. I just wanted to share a success story with you regarding our computer science classes at Prescott. I will admit I was a little uneasy about exactly what direction or what interests our kids would have in computer science. However, after hearing the story of one of our students, Jay, I'm a big believer in computer science. Jay was a student who really wanted to drop out of school and usually stayed in his fair share of trouble. However, after enrolling in one of the computer science coding classes this school year, Jay has a complete new attitude towards school and life. And I'm not going to read the rest of it, but I'm going to tell you, this Jay is me in high school. Okay? I didn't really care for school. I was bored half the time. That was the reason I was in trouble. But I like picking on my GT teacher when I see her out in crowds, because the only computers they had in the school, other than the secretary's old Apple IIe, the only computers they had in the school were reserved for GT students. Well, they wouldn't let me in GT because I was a discipline problem. Well, I was a discipline problem probably because I was bored out of my mind within the classrooms. So these are the students that computer science, it's for everybody, but these are the students that we're looking for, those that need some outlet for their competitive spirit, and then just those that want another opportunity. And as I said, the governor's in my backstory is very similar, saying, you know, in that I'm a first generation college student from a farming town, but like I said, I'm going to share one more video. And I think this person in this video tells the story so much better about the opportunity.
My name is Carla Casillas. I'm the oldest in my family, and I'm also the one that can handle Spanish and English both at the same time. I've always been like a third parent at home.
Quiere aprender cosas nuevas siempre y le pone mucho empeño a lo que ella está aprendiendo, sí, todo el tiempo ella.
Both my parents dropped out in middle school and elementary, so they don't really have much experience with going to college and the process of getting there. Not having the support of my parents has affected me. It becomes very challenging sometimes to keep motivated when they don't understand what's going on.
A lot of our students end up not going to college. They need jobs. They want jobs. Their parents know what jobs are. They don't know how to navigate the world of higher education. And so I saw that as an opportunity to, what can we provide to them as skills or to provide them in the background so they can go and get well-paid jobs.
So I went into computer science principals last year. Mr. Lozano was my teacher. He knows my dynamic at home, and he has been a mentor to help me and guide me through my step-by-step process into the computer science field.
She walked in my class really not knowing what she was getting into. I promised her she was going to enjoy it. I promised her she would be really good at it.
When I found out the statistics about how little women and Latinos are in the field, that's when I realized that that was the field for me.
Hay muchas oportunidades, muchas puertas abiertas para esa carrera porque en el tiempo de atrás no, nada de eso había.
I feel like it's my responsibility to help guide other Latinas, other girls into this field, show them that if I can do it, they can do it too.
We need to have computer science for everyone. We need to have that open access.
Because I learned all the principles of computer science, I was able to get into Python in the college level, and I'm very excited to see what college I get into next year. I mean, everyone wants to change the world, and I think that technology is how I'm going to do it.
So, I started this presentation talking about failure and success. And those who know in education, those of you who are teachers out there, you know that changing, any type of change in education is never easy. There are many days I leave my office and there have been things that I have failed on for that day. But I come back the next day with my office's mantra that we do not have excuses in my office, we have only actions. And some of y'all who email me, teachers in the room and the principals and the counselors, you know this is how I live because that's how my emails come across. There are no excuses in education, there are only actions. We cannot allow for failure to be our stopping point. So I'm challenging the parents and the students in the room to adopt this mantra in your life. Don't make excuses for the things that go wrong in your life. Find actions to change those failures out and reinvent what you're doing, change what you're doing, change your direction. And one way that I heard it said is that, I love this, and it's actually a book that I won't suggest because of the age group in the room, but they said everyone has problems, and you're going to always have problems. The objective in life is changing out the problems you have now for better problems. Okay? So think about that as you move forward. And I love this quote by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have to give credit where credit is due. You can have results or excuses, but not both. And with that, I don't know what my time is. I hope that's what y'all wanted. But if it wasn't, as I always say, I don't have to be invited back. Thank y'all for your time.
Very special messages from both of our speakers, and messages that we can all take back and apply to our own lives, no matter the age. So from the youngest of the children here to those of us that will continue teaching those children, dream big and remember some of the messages that they shared with you tonight. The next presentation that we have, very exciting. How many of you have heard of drones? Or, oh, look at the hands, or unmanned aerial systems, sometimes you hear them called. That is an area that not only uses computer science and technology, but it also touches so many of the different areas in careers and in jobs that you might have, from agriculture to medical sciences, where they can now deliver medical equipment in emergencies rather than to have to try to get them there by land. And so we have Mr. Chris Mink from Unmanned Vehicle Technologies in Fayetteville, and he is here to share information about unmanned aerial systems, or drones, with all of us. Very exciting. So, thank you.
You guys can hear me, right? Thanks you guys for staying and coming out. I know it's, my shoes are still wet from walking in, so I appreciate everybody trudging through and dealing with this. I'll keep it short and sweet, mostly because I talk too fast for publicly speaking, because I don't like speaking publicly, so don't judge me for that. My name is Chris Fink. I founded a company called Unmanned Vehicle Technologies in 2014 in Orlando, Florida. I'll just go through real quick a little bit about us. Well, Don already asked a question. I'm big on interaction. So a lot of you have heard about drones. How many of you have flown a drone? Wow. Okay. More important question, how many of you have crashed a drone? Almost everybody that raised their hand a second ago. Perfect. That's exciting. I haven't failed. Companies need anything. We were started as an aerial services provider. What that means is a company would come to us and they would say, hey, we've been using helicopters, airplanes, Cessnas, Bell helicopters, whatever, paying them thousands of construction projects, whatever it might be, wind turbines, homes, residential complexes, etc., we'd let you come and do it with a drone because it's cheaper. We would come out, we would take photos of that. Back in that day, the FAA, who knows what the FAA is? Just raise your hands. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Sorry if any of you guys work for that. Federal Aviation Administration. They are basically who sets the laws for us, and I follow every single one of them. And back in the day, the FAA was scared of drones. So, you know, no offense to the government agencies, but what do? They say, yeah, you can't do it because we don't understand that it scares us. You're going to hurt somebody. We being the industry, finally proved that no, we're not going to hurt anybody. And yeah, we are going to do good things. And so they came out with an exemption process back in the day. We were one of the first 500 organizations to receive a Section 333 exemption. So I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, went to Fayetteville High School, and but I worked for the city of Rogers for a long time, so I'm a big proponent of the city. I was a 911 dispatcher, firefighter, EMT, had a pretty long public service background, and in that service I learned that there is nothing better that can help us but technology. So whether that's advanced dispatch systems, whether that's when you call from your cell phone, that dispatcher knows where you are within 1 block of wherever you happen to be. So part of that happens to the passion of the agency, or the passion of the area brought me back here in 2017 with my wife, and so we are now Arkansas's drone dealer. So you'll notice we went from a service provider to a drone dealer, and that's because as a service provider, I didn't have anybody that I could call that could answer questions on this technology because every single day it's changing. Even just today when I powered that drone on in the hallway out there, it gave me an error that I've never seen before because something else happened yesterday that I didn't know about. So I wanted to be that for service providers, and then obviously with my public service background, construction experience, etc., I want to be a partner for those industries, and so we now are. We are what we call a complete UAS systems provider. UAS systems is redundant. UAS is unmanned aircraft systems. A system is me and a drone. A UAV is just a drone, just to kind of paint the picture there. So when people hear the word drone, they think of these things. I've never flown one of those. I would love to, but I never have. When I say drone, I'm talking about these. I'm talking about relatively small, much smaller than those two that I showed a second ago, still equally powerful to help and affect change and do good for all of us. Oh, I didn't do anything. That's good. Anybody guess what the number of airline flights in 2016 that the FAA handled? These are commercial airline flights. Throw a number. Well, technology's great, but sometimes it fails. The number of airline flights handled by the FAA in 2016 was roughly 15,000. I had a little gift on them too. So anybody want to guess the estimated number of drone flights in 2017? 175,475,000. Within the last 3 years, 950,000 drones have been registered with the FAA. It is estimated that a drone owner, I'm obviously not included because I fly mine every chance I can get, flies their drone once every 2 days. If you do the math, I'm guessing that's how they came up with it. So some of the applications and careers I want to talk about just real quick, and these are applications that I have experience with, not on the actual doing it, but selling to these organizations and learning about that technology to better serve them. High tension lines. A high tension line is you can take a power line, and the power is only so good as long as that pole stays in the air, and the pole stays in the air because you have tension on both sides of it. Is there a laser with this thing? So that's a turnbuckle. A turnbuckle has pressure on both sides. If the pressure on that side of the turnbuckle becomes, to a certain point, I'm not smart enough to know that, unequal to that side, that line will snap, and that whole power line comes crashing down. The governor and Mr. Owen have been talking about programming and coding, and a big portion of that is machine learning, or what we would call augmented reality, artificial intelligence, etc. There are machine learning algorithms that can go in and count this image and tell me exactly how many threads are exposed on that turnbuckle, so I can calculate how soon it's going to be before it fails, or ideally that it's not going to fail when we move on to the next one. There are other things, simple things, corrosion detection and assessment. There are algorithms that can look at that turnbuckle and assess that corrosion compared to this relatively lack of corrosion and understand and calculate how long it's going to be before that becomes a failure point. Wildlife monitoring and relocation is huge across industry, especially in high tension lines, because if there is a certain species of bird, and there's a lot of them, I don't really know how to pronounce half of them, if there's a nest in that tension line, they can't touch it. You could have, your power could be out, you might not be able to charge your iPhone, that's a big deal, you can't snap, you can't Insta, but if that bird is in that tower, they can't touch it, and they can't get power back to your house. Previously, you would have to either climb a ladder, get a bucket truck, etc., and at that point, you're 100 to 150 feet in the air. Even though I was a firefighter and deathly scared of heights, mostly ladders, but just heights in general, that freaks me out. The other thing is asset monitoring. These are assets. To that organization, if that tower goes down, they're out of a lot of money. You're without power. They probably care about that, but they care more about the asset that's in the air. As far as asset monitoring, you can do 3D modeling, storm damage is huge, disaster recovery, etc. Some potential career paths involved here are engineers. I'm sure there are a lot of engineers involved in contemplating and calculating all the different stresses on there. Maybe Mr. Owen with his math background can help out, I'm not sure. Architects, there's a lot of architecture that goes into building these high structure, high tension line structures. Obviously you can tell them anything about it. GIS, and surveying. So if you've got a line of trees in your way, you need to know exactly what the altitude or the terrain is underneath those trees so you can effectively construct that tower. And then obviously linemen. Obviously we know linemen are in charge of that exact power line, and they need to know if that line is energized, they need to know how high it is, how many of them there are, so that if they go up there and they touch that line, they know what to expect. Solar panels. How many of you guys have a solar panel in your backpack or at home, on your roof, anything? Anybody? Couple? Okay, excellent. My parents just got them installed, so I'm getting more exposure to that. Solar panels are huge. Renewable energy is a hot topic across industry. Solar panels, when they're hot, they're not producing energy. If they're not producing energy, they're completely useless. They might look somewhat cool, but they're completely useless. You can see in the picture on the right, yellow in this case is hot, purple is cold. That line is burning hot, and so you focus on this one because the angle of that one doesn't really apply. I'll speak to that in a second. This particular one is being checked for dead strings. So that entire string is not producing energy. If there's 4 strings, that's 1/4 of the energy that string could be producing, and that one string probably costs anywhere from $500,000 to $750,000 to lay down, install, and maintain. If you look up at the top, the reason that they're at a different angle here is because of reflective emissivity. These 2 spots are bird droppings. A bird pooped on those solar panels, and they're losing roughly $5,000 a day. How would you check that without a drone? You'd either fly a helicopter, you would walk it, you would go in a bucket truck. I've literally seen these sites where they are in a bucket truck while it's being driven down a path, and the guys in the top shaking all over the place. I started sweating because it scared me. You could have defective individual panels, this panel right here and that panel right there. For whatever reason, half that panel is not producing enough energy, thus costing the company money. Within about 30 seconds, this drone operator, and I actually sold the drone to this gentleman who was flying this, within 30 seconds, he was out, he had the problem identified, he walked over to it, he plugged the connector back in because the guy that was mowing the lawn knocked it out the day before. Those panels are back up and running. I don't know if that lawn guy still works there, but I was doing well. Potential career paths here, again, engineering is huge. Renewable energy specialists, there are literally specialists who specialize in renewable energy. You come to them and say, hey, I want to offset my energy bill, do I use wind, do I use solar, do I use whatever? Those guys can tell them that. Again, GIS and surveying, if you have a multi-kilowatt solar field, you're taking up acres and acres of land, you need to know exactly what that terrain is. You need to calculate the angle of that terrain to ensure that the sun's going to hit it in at the appropriate angle, etc. And then obviously installers and maintenance and things like that. My personal favorite, I have a soft spot for public safety. There's going to be a couple slides dedicated to that. No offense if you're in energy or anything, but this is where I spend my time. Public safety is huge. Missing persons, persons of interest. If you call the police out because a guy was in your backyard, that guy disappears, I would like to know where that guy went. That was just in my backyard that caused me to call 911. Well, in this GIF is actually working. The other ones are funnier, but you can see that gentleman right there. In this case, red is hot, white is cold. White on the windows, red on that human. As you're flying this aircraft, you're getting GPS coordinates on your actual application, which we'll talk about in a second with the local development. You can see where that guy is and call out those coordinates immediately. In some respects, you can actually see, or in some models that here, you can see what he's carrying. Maybe he's carrying a golf club, he doesn't have a shotgun. Maybe he's just walking his dog. Maybe he's not even involved at all. That information can save lives. It can save police officers' lives. It can save your lives. And it can allow them to do their job more quickly. The other, well, I guess I should say that we'll get to that in the next slide. I got ahead of myself. Potential career paths here, specifically firefighter, law enforcement officer. If you want to volunteer at a search and rescue organization, we sell a lot of search and rescue organizations and crime scene investigators, because crime scene recreation is much easier from the air than it is from the ground. So back to firefighting and some investigation. You can see in this building here, in this case, blue is cold and yellow, if it's white, it's incredibly hot. The roof is nice and cold. This is a fire, obviously, coming out the window. You can see the purple in the windows there. You can also see all of your firefighters. Now, I'm sure that they're just standing there waiting for something to happen, and they're actually going to put the fire out in a second. But you can actually track all those individual people. Coming back to SDK, mobile app development, coding, you can code an algorithm that says, hey, look, for anybody that's in this temperature range, and highlight them. And that app will actually go out and highlight those people, and you can count your individuals. If you know that that's a 2-truck fire, you have 6 individuals on that fire, and you see 4, and you know nobody's in the building, you need to find those other 2 guys. Currently, you would listen for people that's on their CBA packs, and if they're laying down, that's an issue. In this, you can actually track them from the air. Hotspots are absolutely critical and killer, unfortunately. When I was a firefighter, if you climbed the roof of a house that was on fire, and you go to step on that roof, you don't really know what's underneath it. If it's soft, you back away. If it's not, you presume it's okay. I'm about 220 pounds. If I step on a roof that's relatively soft, I'm probably going to end up in the living room, likely in a bad situation. In this regard, you can see that that roof is relatively cold, probably a metal roof. They could feasibly go on that roof and not have any issues. Previously, you'd have to climb a ladder and see that action yourself or step on it and figure that out. Some potential career paths here: firefighting, fire marshals. Arson investigation is huge, arsonists, etc. And then obviously crime scene investigator, because arson is an effective crime. Got it. How many of you have seen Star Wars? Any of them? Perfect. Me too. Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Transformers series, and those are the TV series. These are just 3 of the ones that I thought of. Star Wars at the top because I love Star Wars. All of those incorporate aerial imaging. These images right here, which that's Luke's Island. If anybody hasn't seen The Last Jedi or any of those, please go see them immediately. Luke's Island was shot with a DJI-inspired 2 aircraft. I have 4 of them on the shelf at the office. Anything that you can think of with film, photography, journalism, news broadcasting, anything can be done with a drone. When I just learned about this about a week ago, there are what are called location scouts or set designers that are using drones to go out and fly a location if it's not passable by foot, if it's very remote, if they can't get a boat to it, etc. They just fly a drone over it, and you would make a 3D model or something like that to actually plan that out. You can then take that model and interact with it on your computer or with an app that maybe you code or program, and you can lay out your set. You can drop Luke on top of that island and have him run up the hill, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, because at least you know that ahead of time before we're hanging out there costing whatever it's costing you. Some examples of things that you can do in the film cinematography arena: cinematographer, director, screenwriter, set designer, location scout are the 2 most recent ones that I just learned about myself. So these probably aren't going to work. All my gifts are gone. Anybody guess the median age of a commercial airline pilot? I heard 36, that was close. 46 years old. I didn't know that, I just learned that yesterday. I was pretty scared. Median age of a video game designer?
25.
35, okay, 34. 34. I'm 30, just for reference. Anybody want to guess the median age of an SUAS worker? SUAS is drones. 25 is close. 21 years old. The median age of a worker in my industry is 21 years old. That's, so I heard a no wow. Normally that'd be scary, right? Because you're like, oh God, this guy's flying the drone above my house, he's probably going to crash it. To me, that's exciting. To me, that means he's a couple years out of high school, or depending on how long it takes to graduate. A couple years out of high school, maybe he went 2 years technical school, 2 years vocational school. Maybe he just, like me, finished up high school, scraping by, and decided to get into the workforce. Education and experience is key. That can be college, high school, technical school, vocational school, etc. Coding and programming and hands-on technical skills are the 2 biggest gaps in our industry right now. I cannot code. I can use an iPhone pretty well. My wife breaks a lot of computers and things, and I fix those pretty well. I can't code or program. I've never gotten it. I've been interested in it, but my eyes blur or something happens. I've never seen myself. Coding and programming is huge. There are applications out there for payload drop systems, so back to public safety. If you identify a subject on the side of a bluff on Beaver Lake, and you can't communicate with them, they appear to be in distress, how do you get stuff down to them? Currently, you would hook up a rope and rappel, bring you back to my fear heights. That's not the best way to do things. We have the technology to improve that. You should go write an app, and that app can identify a human being. You can strap a 2-way radio or a cell phone at the bottom of the drone. You hook up a little clamp, a little claw. As you can tell, I'm very smart about these things. A clamp or a claw on the bottom of it. Your app will go over, it'll fly over the person, and at a certain point in time, it'll release that and drop that radio to them, or maybe repel a rope if it's heavy. First aid kits, the water. During Hurricane Irma, I lived in Florida for a long time. My wife happened to be in Florida during Hurricane Irma. They were using drones all over the place. I sold 10 UAS, the same exact drone that was out there, to an agency that literally bunkered down to their building until a hurricane passed, and they went to go fly afterward. They were dropping water, first aid kits, all kinds of things. They didn't have an app to do at the time, so it was a manual release. Hands-on and technical skills are huge. I am the worst solderer on the planet. I might as well just super glue it and just hope it works. I just can't do it. Circuitry is huge, understanding how current passes, understanding how, when I press the right button or the back button on this keyboard, what that actually does to the computer and how it interacts with everything. Coding and programming all comes into play there. Electrical components, if I plug a lithium polymer battery into an AS150 plug, is that plug going to catch on fire, or is it going to be able to handle that current? I don't know. I buy it and it works, but somebody needs to figure that out. Composite materials and 3D printing are huge. It all comes on back to coding. How do you get that 3D printed bracket or whatever it might be? You got to come up with a plan. You got to measure. You got to cut. And you got to print it with a 3D printer that likely has coding and programming on board. That's pretty much it. I know we got a little bit deep there at the end of Mr. Owen's presentation, the governor. I mean, I'm sort of down here, but if you guys have any questions about anything, it can be drone related or not, fire away. Otherwise, I really appreciate you guys staying and listening.
All right. Well, very, very interesting information about not only drones and how they benefit each and every one of our lives, but also an incredible amount of careers that are connected to drones. And so that is another way that we can help share information about not only the current careers, but those in the future. So in closing, again, thank you each and every one for coming out tonight to learn more about the career and technical education programs that we offer in the Rogers Public Schools, and to our guest speakers, each and every one. We thank you. Have a safe trip home this evening, and please feel free to contact teachers in the district, or you may contact me, Dawn Stewart, and we will do all that we can to help answer questions and help provide support to your students as they go through our services. Thank you very much.